Hi, I'm Jason Collett, and I really appreciate you taking a few moments to check out our program. You know, selling your business is a pretty complicated task. And what is amazing to me is as I went through the process of selling my companies, it was difficult to find the right resources at the right time, and it was difficult to know exactly what was ahead so that I could prepare for it. So that's why I've put together the program. It's really to help business owners like you sell their businesses in a time efficient, but also a profitable way. But I think it's really important that you hear from others, right? It's not just me selling the program, but I'd really like you to spend a few minutes hearing from clients that I've helped and professionals that I've worked with so that you can make the best decision for you. So let's get right to it and hear from some of these folks that have learned to put profits in their pocket.
Process that I went through was actually in two stages. The process of getting the company ready to sell, and then the process of actually selling it. It's a process that the front end I had a better handle on than the back end.
I think it was really useful just to have, a sounding board and people who'd gone through the process before a lot to give us the tips that we needed and answer the questions that we needed.
But it had been 40 plus years in the family. So it was started by his beloved dad, and mother helped, and son was looking forward to running it someday. So it was personal. So there were very touchy moments.
Working with clients who have sold businesses, some of the sales have been very successful and some have been disastrous.
What prompted me to sell my company was that my partner, my wife, we're 50-50 partners in our business for 19 years, decided she was ready to be out of the business. And we talked about that, and I was caught a little off guard. I thought we would go another 2 or 3 more years. When she made that statement, it made me realize that things needed to be done in preparation to sell the business first. It's not unlike selling a home. You want to improve the curb appeal. You want to make sure there's maintenance and or things taken care of that will make the house more attractive and appealing.
The thing that I recommend is to get in touch with people like Jason from Adaptivity Development. Make sure you're working with a great attorney and a great accountant to make sure that there are no surprises during the transaction.
Wouldn't have known how to leverage the value we had against what someone wants to pay. We wouldn't have known where to start with that.
Just basically cleaning up our operations and the various disciplines of operations, marketing, finance, etc., and administrative things.
Getting the business ready to sell is many steps that you should take as a seller. First is the mindset. The second thing is making sure that you have all of your I's dotted and your T's crossed from both financial, legal, consulting, and everything like that before you even put your business out on the market. Because once you have a buyer, you don't want to be fumbling around trying to have all this stuff together when they ask for it.
Nobody knows the value of your own time better than a business owner, and you could spend hours and days and weeks researching all of the different pieces that you need to put together to sell your business. But you don't have to if you go through this process with you, and it's completely invaluable to have the peace of mind and knowing that somebody else has already put this together. You can trust it. It works. Other people have done it. You don't have to think about it.
Most people overvaluate their business anywhere from 3 to 10 times more than what they're really worth. That's a problem for the seller because they go in with a preconceived, it's like buying a house. Most homeowners who's lived in their house for years believe their house, because of the memories, because of their good times, are worth a lot more than they really are out on the open market.
I think you can be blinded by what you've built and what you think the value is, or what you think the value is not. I think it can go either way. I've seen both, and I think it would be very helpful because we've just stumbled through, or I've watched people stumble through. In those scenarios, you could really benefit from that person who's objective and able to say what they need to say.
I think the biggest mistake that I've seen is someone running a company for 30 years and really having no idea what it's worth. And in their mind, it's worth something. And when I say something, there's a number in their mind. But unfortunately, the reality of someone writing a check to buy that business is something much different, and in most cases much lower. So I am thinking of someone who had a number in mind, and unfortunately the number was less than half of that of what any buyer would offer them. And because they didn't plan for that and didn't really take the time over the years to know what their business is worth in their particular industry, they were hit with a big surprise and weren't able to live quite the life that they thought that they were going to live for the remainder of their days.
As I was going through the process, it became more clear to me that I did not know what I thought I knew.
Biggest mistake, and that was not asking for enough. So in the critical moment before the final negotiations, he was prompted to ask for more, and he did it, and he got it.
Don't ever go it alone. If you do, you're going to find a whole lot of pitfalls that you never anticipated in the first place, to the point it could become not worth selling. So put a team together, and if you're not sure what team you need, get a coach or somebody that's been through this before, such as Jason.
There's a sense of closure that you can find in doing this process of separating from your business, doing it properly. And if you get the right guidance, there's a piece about that that will enable you to look back fondly on the experiences that you did have.
But I also think it probably would have been a lot more expensive had we not gone with a package service like yours, because you were able to give us all of those pieces in a breakdown, and had we got them a la carte, asking a lawyer this question and asking a broker that question and asking, another business person that question, I think it wouldn't have been as concise, and it wouldn't have been as cohesive, and then it also would have probably cost more in the long run.
There were so many people helping to sell the business. There were lawyers, there were environmentalists, because it was a property as well, and of course accountants. So we had due diligence from both sides, as seller and buyer, and bringing those parties together and getting them to agree on things, that was really challenging.
This is the team of people that I think is core to the essential of getting that transaction to the finish line. And then that's where I come in. What do we do with this afterwards to make sure that this money that you've worked so hard for, and you're landing a glider plane now because you're probably never going to sell another business again, now that this money takes care of the goals and passions that we have in life going forward?
I think the mind shift, transferring your thought process from me as the owner running and managing my business versus looking at this from the outside perspective, what's going to be attractive to the buyer. The pieces that I like about the business the most are not necessarily what's going to make someone else want to buy it. Because I might have fun doing something, but somebody else might look at it and be like, oh my gosh, that is a ton of work. And there might be other parts that I take for granted as, I could do this, whatever. And a buyer might be looking at that and be like, oh, well, that's unique. And, I would like to do that. And it's not necessarily, it's kind of getting outside of your own box, putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, and having a coach along the way to help you do that, see you for things from the outside perspective. It's really hard to get outside of your own position and do that by yourself.
You have to get in the mindset that you're no longer going to be an owner-operator, that you're selling for a particular reason, and that particular reason is for the good of you and the buyer and hopefully your clients.
You can spend too much of your precious time building a business, and you may not be the person to grow the business. So sometimes you need to sell it in order to reap the benefits of all your hard work, and not be ashamed in any way to do that or in any way conflicted.
All of these pieces are ones that need to be considered, but they're two distinct things. Running a business and getting it ready and moving it in the direction of selling is totally different. You have to literally switch gears in your head.
We started to have goals outside of the business. And I think that was one of the really important things, is that all of a sudden the door was closing, but then we saw the path to not having to be in the same place all the time. And I think once we started with those goals, the transition became a lot easier.
The mind shift that needs to happen, in my opinion, first is to get the right team in place. Make sure that you have the person who is going to guide you through the process to quarterback that situation, so to speak, and the experts from the tax standpoint and from the legal standpoint. Those are the key players, I think, to get the business transaction to the finish line. And then the right financial advisor to guide you with what to do with that windfall of money that could be so dangerous if we're not careful.
If someone came to me and said they were going to sell their company, and I was asked for a quick piece of advice to them, I would say, approach this process with an open mind. I would say approach this process sincerely and honestly, because there's a lot of things that are going to come up that you're going to have to deal with.
I advise heavily to follow a process, whatever process that is. Getting a business coach that's been through this before can help you through the whole process. It is a long process, 6 to 12 months to sell a business.
And then we started a good 6 months of hard work answering the lawyers' and accountants' questions from the buyer's perspective.
It helps you position yourself to be able to go forward with the process. And it just makes it easier. It's not, it isn't rocket science, but nobody can tell you. Nobody really is in the position to tell you, oh, here's how you sell a business.
I think without going through the process, we would not have known what a realistic number was. We wouldn't have known whether the price we got at the end was a good price or whether we got cheated, and we would have been uncertain about that. So I think going through the process, having the guidance that we did, helped us manage our expectations and then also get the best value we could for our business. So profit in your pocket for me is that light at the end of the tunnel, meaning you have something to show for all of your hard work. You actually have, a tangible physical asset that you can show for all the hard work that you've done, and you get to take it home with you and do whatever you want with it.
I would probably say this is the fondest time. So we went from 2014 all the way to 2018, including being the banker. And there has just been a gradual stepping back and a sense of pride.
Profit in my pocket means I have freedom.
Someone who's going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Generally, there's this feeling of euphoria once a company is sold.
We had somebody who was always at the end of a phone who we could ask, and that doesn't really have a value. That's just great because, it's just, we could call people at 9:00 at night and get the answer that we needed.
The level of communication was exactly what we would have wanted and actually better than we could have hoped for. And then it's just the peace of mind, like knowing that we were making, just the reassurance we're making the right decisions and, this is the right call. And, well, yeah, we think we should do that, but maybe we better check with Jason. It's nice to know that we have that, yes, you're doing the right thing. Okay, cool, we can move forward.
Whether it's Jason or the luck of the draw or God intervention, they got at least 1.5 to 2 times more than I anticipated.
I'm excited because now I've taken the process of selling your business and I've really streamlined it and put it in an easily accessible online format so that people can gain this information and learn how to sell their businesses in an easy and profitable way. If you'd like more information, please check out the website. It's adaptivitydev.com. And also, I'd love to schedule a phone call with you. We can talk for a few minutes on the phone, learn about your particular situations and your particular circumstances, and find out if this is the right program. It's no obligation. Feel free to ask any questions that you want. Hopefully, even in and of itself, it would be informative, but we'll find out if indeed we can help you put profits in your pocket and sell your business profitably. Once again, I'm Jason Collett. Thank you for spending time with us, and I look forward to working with you soon.